My name is Stephanie Woodford. I am so happy to be here today to support Dr. Hunnicutt. She very much supports me and my music. She said, Deanne said, I'm a pianist and a singer, and I'm currently learning how to computer code so that I can do that too. So I'm happy to be here today. I will pass out some cards later.
Hello everyone. I won't stand up. My name is Steve Woodford. I have some arthritic problems, but I'm so glad to be here. It's been a long time since I've spoken publicly. Dr. Hunnicutt, I couldn't have missed her. She's been so supportive and so wonderful to my daughter. Really, she's helped her with scholarships and all kinds of events, and so there was nothing that was going to stop me short of dying from not making it here. And you know what I value is my lovely daughter. I'm pretty sure I live for her. I'm a single dad, and I raised my daughter, and I started her off real early, and I'm so proud of where she's at and where she's become.
Amen.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Tendai Jordan, and I am a proud friend of Dr. Hunnicutt, and I am so honored that she has done this for the world, because what she does for the world, and it impacts the world. So I'm happy to be here and to meet you. I am a spiritual practitioner through the Centers for Spiritual Living. I'm a facilitator, and I create and do programs for women. So what I value is life, and living out loud. That's what I value. I think everyone should, because I know that's why we are here. Thank you.
Tell me about your book.
I wrote a book called What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. So when you have that kind of occasion, which many of us have, maybe somebody did, but I have them quite often, and I'll see myself picking up the book, now what do I do? So thank you for asking about that. And it's in Amazon. My name is Tendai Jordan. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Joelle. I'm based here in San Francisco. Dr. Hunnicutt is one of my awesome mentors. We meet once every other week. I value authenticity and purpose. I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm on a mission to bring humanity back into business, creating products and services designed for people that live below the poverty line. Right now we work in 5 different countries with entrepreneurs, farmers, and artisans that live below $2 a day. And we're creating technology that's designed for people who don't know how to read or write to access the global market, tell their story, and sell their product, and get more money for them, and help democratize and redistribute the wealth for all people. So, yeah.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Dr. Carolyn Scott, and my motto is building better lives and communities with help today and hope for a better tomorrow. And through relationships, I do inner city missionary work and have done it since '69, literally. And I love working in a community. I love working with the people, the families, and just the projects that will build and connect. And Dr. Hunnicutt, she has worked with many of my family members. I've been around her, and just her skills and all the fruit that comes to and through her. And I've served with her as mayor's advisor, and now serving as commissioner with the redevelopment. So again, building better lives and communities with help today and hope for a better tomorrow.
Hi everyone, my name is Kimberly Banford. I'm here with my family this evening. I value peace, and I'm a therapist. I work in the public school system in San Francisco. Probably why I value peace.
Hello everyone, my name is Kelly Banford. I too am here with my family. We all kind of look alike, I would say. We have some nice genes coming around. I am an undergraduate social work major at San Jose State, and I'm actually pursuing my master's. So I value community, I also value peace, and I value prosperity for those who are not able to have and enjoy what many other people have as well. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you very much for having me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kenny Banford. This is my family I'm with now. And I have a few words to say about Dr. Hunnicutt. I have worked in San Francisco all my life. I've been hearing about her for years, and now I have the pleasure of working with her as a volunteer at Minnie Lovey Ward on the little board. And I am just so thankful that I finally got the chance to work with her. My values are communication. I worked city and county in San Francisco, so public housing. Worked with San Francisco Rec and Park. And at the present time right now, I am a retiree. So I have a lot of time to volunteer and do some of the things that I like to do, and that's give back to the community. I've worked in quite a few communities, from Hunters Point to Western Addition to Ingleside District to Richmond. I just like to work with people and to give people an opportunity to start their lives the way that they gave me a little bit to start mine. And thank you, Dr. Hunnicutt, and thank everyone for being here. I am so anxious to see your book. And I just want to make sure that my family came and got a chance to see and meet you, on a personal level.
Thank you so much. Mr. Banford, would you please talk about the work you're doing in the area with young men?
Yes.
Okay, please share that with them.
Okay. I work in the community right now on the commission board. I worked with Rec and Park for years. I work with young kids from tiny tots all the way up to adults. I have given a lot of information to young men, to young ladies. I have gotten, I want to say 6 or 7 different young ladies into the WNBA. I'm a basketball coach. I volunteer my time. I had an AAU team, and it's just so nice to see these young ladies and these young men get an opportunity to move up from school to college to, the professional level. So now I'm back at Minnie Lovey Ward, and I have the time to start to give back again to these young men. And we're trying to create some things over in that area where we could have basketball for the young men to keep them off the street so that they have another opportunity to do something besides be out there. And also, I'm trying to get them I'm a construction worker, so by trade. So I'm trying to get them into some of the construction trades, give them an opportunity to better themselves. The opportunities are there, they just don't know how to reach out and go get them. So that's one of the things that I do, and I'm working with Dr. Hunnicutt, Mary and Al, and a couple of the other people, who are on the board, and it gives me an opportunity to learn from them because, I don't know everything. And it's so nice to have some people who can teach me some things so that I can teach the young people coming up. I work with men and women, young girls, young men, and it's so nice to be able to give back. So thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lorraine Banford, and as it's been said, I'm here with my family. I'm really honored to be here with my family and with each of you in the room. Thank you, Dr. Hunnicutt, for all that you're doing and for this really special opportunity. Let's see. So I value family and I value peace as well, and several other things. But my day job is I work for the Recreation and Park Department. I'm the superintendent of Recreation and Community Services. And so only been in this role maybe about a year or so. And really looking forward to connecting better with the community, because I really do believe that people, if we can provide opportunities, spaces and places for all people to experience recreation and use their free time in a productive way, it can really transform a life, no matter what phase of life you're in. So if people have ideas in the room, make sure we connect before you leave tonight. I certainly am going to be connecting with some of you all. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'm going to pass it to my neighbor.
Good evening, my name is Mary Harris, and Al and I live in the Ingleside. We've lived there for 45 years, and we raised our 4 children there. And I read in the paper about Minnie and Lovey Ward, and I didn't know if that was their real names. I thought it was nicknames. I said, those names are so cute. Do you think that's their real names? Anyway, they were doing a prayer circle in front of the Ocean View Rec Center because someone had been shot there. And I said to my husband, well, we're raising our kids here. I think we need to find these people and where they need, and we need to join them, and we need to support the work they're doing and try to make our neighborhood safe. And when we started that journey, the first thing I noticed was Sheridan School was all bungalows, and I asked Minnie, well, how long has this been going on, and how come we don't have a real school for our children? And she said, well, they took it down because it wasn't scientifically safe. And I said, well, how long ago was that? And she said, well, they said they would give us a new school in 2 years, but it's been 17.
Oh.
And I was just,
Wow.
I was just outraged and said, well, when are we gonna raise hell and go to the school board and get a school for our kids? And then I learned the lies and deceit and all the stuff that goes along. They said, oh, if you pass a school bond, you'll get your school. And I said, oh, that's a piece of cake. San Franciscans like their parks, their libraries, and their schools, and they passed all those bonds. Well, we passed the bond, they gave us half a school. I was like, who gets half a school? You know, so then I went to the superintendent and said, I want the rest of the school for my kids. And he said, do another bond. We did another bond, and that's when I learned my politics lesson that I didn't know that it had to be written in specifically what you were gonna get.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Randy Siraguchi. I'm the Executive Director of Urban Ed Academy. We're a nonprofit based in Bayview Hunters Point. Right now, hyper-focused with Malcolm X Academy up on the Hill. And Dr. Hunnicutt has been a guardian angel for us, for me personally, as a non-San Franciscan native. I'm from a small beach town across the way in New Jersey. It's called Asbury Park. My town is actually smaller than the Bayview, so I felt like I could actually fit in and be there and okay, but very similar situations and very similar circumstances. I'm an attorney by trade, but joined this nonprofit because of my passion and my belief around equity and my value around making sure that everybody has the same fair shot. Folks have said our kids have, and we know that that's not always the case. Our mantra and our motto at Urban Ed Academy is you can't be what you can't see. Representation matters. So what we've been charged to do is to try to make sure that our young boys in particular have role models and have folks that can show them the way in their schools at the elementary level. We believe it starts early. And so our current initiative is called Man to Bay. We're moving 50 to 100 black men into San Francisco by giving them a pre-service year of training and then housing for 4 years to actually be able to complete this teaching service mission. I think all of us are charged to give. Dr. Hunnicutt has been instrumental in making sure that we are meeting the right folks and getting that done. I'm humbled to be here to share in this celebration tonight, this launch, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens after today.
I'm LaShawn Walker. I'm a connector, is what I am. I'm the Director of Community Affairs for 5 Point, and we are the master developer for Hunters Point Shipyard, Candlestick Point, and now Phase 1 of the Concord Naval Weapons Station, along with some other communities in coastal California. It's about 40,000 home sites in the state of California. And I have the blessed opportunity and responsibility to be responsible for all of our charity, all of our community benefits compliance, and workforce, SBE, and on and on. There's lots of pieces to it. But I really define myself as a connector, and putting the resources that I have, but also connecting people with other resources to one another for the benefit of the community. The thing that I value, there's so many things, but if we're to name one, it is 21 years ago my mother left me to be with the Lord. The way I say it like that, because I'm still mad at her, 21 years later. So on this past Saturday, the 28th of September, it's been 21 years. So the thing that I value is still making her proud. If I couldn't tell my mother about it, I shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening. Linda Fediki Richardson, originally from Nigeria. My claim to fame is I have had the honor and the privilege for the last 30 years being a friend of Dr. Veronica Hunnicutt. She's my big sister, and we have done a lot of things together. When she was the Dean of the Southeast Community College, I was one of those that served on her advisory committee, and the rest is history. In the Bayview, we've done so many things together. We talk to each other probably, 300-500 times a day till midnight. One of the things that Dr. Hunnicutt and I, have passion for, read a lot. I have a library, a book of thousands of books. Dr. Hunnicutt, everywhere she goes, she brings me books. We talk about that. And what am I involved with? Like I said, in so many things in the last 20-something years with the city and county of San Francisco, from development, from just about everything. My expertise in waterfront development, transportation, land use planning, and domestic international affairs. But of all of this, my value is having someone with integrity, someone that cares a lot about people. There is no one that I know deserve that honor and value than this woman, Dr. Veronica Hunnicutt. I told you earlier that we spend a lot of time talking about everybody and talking. That 100% of the conversation is about the community. She cares about human beings. She prays for people. She goes out of her way to be a decent human being. I once told her and her daughter, I said, Dr. Hunnicutt, your daughter and your grandchildren, I know deep down in my heart that they are going to, all the seeds that you have planted, strangers everywhere in the world, they will be given their favors. You know what? They stem out of the good deeds that you have done in your life. And this is a testament, this is a fact, and I can even write a book on what I know that Dr. Hunnicutt has done and has accomplished. So it is my great honor to be here today for her first book, and to wish you congratulations. We're very proud of you. You're a family member, and praise of you is even beyond this setting. So I sing the praise every day, and I will continue to do that as long as I live.
And right now, there's some people that are in their 90s, and I'm saying, well, I'll help you write the book, okay? Because their lives have been so colorful and so rich and so marvelous. Please, those of you, and write something, okay? And then share it with somebody who values that and can then send it into and to the world, okay, and to communities. It's important. Your perspective is important, and I want you to know this. This book I've been working on for a while, okay? I told Pastor, oh, Pastor, it only took me 1 year to write this book. Then I got to thinking about that. No, it didn't, because you had that on that computer for probably 3 or 4 years. You know, adding pieces here, pieces there. The second book I'm working on right now, this one is for girls and women of color. I can't get to it fast enough because I keep, you know, there's so much I want to say as a woman who is past 65. I'll put it that way. Dark, don't you dare. Okay. That we want to share with young women. I mean, I'm kind of tired of seeing people being in a sad state of dismay. I don't care what's happening in the White House, the Brown House, or the Green House. Okay? Keep focused up on God and you can take care of business. But it's this woman who stood behind me and said, we will support you. Valerie.
Dr. Hunnicutt, we all know, and I'm sure everyone in this room, when Dr. Hunnicutt speaks, you listen. So whatever you want, that we wanted to support you, because you are an idol, a legend, and we all are so proud of you. So you're just amazing. So as you said, my name is Valerie Bocage. I am the founder and CEO of Powerful Women International Connections. And what we do is work with women humanitarians who are working to change lives to help them make a bigger impact. So we work with women around the world, and the women around the world know Dr. Hunnicutt. So I just want to just thank you. My values are putting God first.
Yes, come on.
Family and community. And I'm so happy and honored to be here, and I'm so happy to be here for the birth of your book, because I know that wasn't easy. But thank you.
Thank you. I want to also tell you about Valerie, that, you know, Valerie, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this with them, Valerie. Valerie was caught up in Katrina. Tell them about Katrina, Valerie.
Well, as you can hear my accent, I'm from New Orleans, and I did choose the gumbo.
Hope you don't be disappointed.
I lost everything I had in Hurricane Katrina.
Did you hear that? Everything.
I had left 2 pair of jeans, and I had an overnight bag, and I had no idea I was not going to be able to go back home. And so I was just being thankful. You know, thankful I had another pair of jeans to put on. I could not go back and look at what I lost. I had to say, okay, God, what's next?
That's it.
What's next? And came here with Landmark Education. They called me on a job offer, and I worked with them for a while, but I wanted to see what was next for me. And through prayer, I just kept asking God, what's next? And he said, have women not be stopped by their circumstances, but use the innate gift that I have given them. So I said, well, let me test God. And I did one event to test it to see how it would go. And then it started just going Houston and New York, and then we went to Nairobi, and then 4 countries in Africa. We did International Paris. And I was just following God, like, what's next? And here we are today, honoring Dr. Hunnicutt. So
thank you, Valerie.
Thank you so much.
Al.
I was eating so I wouldn't have to say anything. I was hoping the mic would keep going around there. I met Veronica before she was Dr. Hunnicutt. I met Veronica when I came to San Francisco a number of years ago, and my first active involvement in community affairs was I managed to get an appointment to the Citizens Committee on Community Development. Mayor Feinstein appointed me to the Citizens Committee on Community Development. Veronica was on the Citizens Committee for Community Development at that time, a bunch of other folks who have long and storied histories of involvement and advocacy in San Francisco. I think one of the distinct honors we had, I think we were the only committee on community development that got fired en masse because we wouldn't listen to what the mayor wanted to dictate to us that we were supposed to be doing instead of doing what we thought we needed to be doing on behalf of the community. We took seriously the fact that we were supposed to be representing the interests of the community and advocating for policies and programs that represented that. We didn't understand, I said I didn't, at least somewhat naively, that I was supposed to be there to carry out what the mayor told me to do. That was not my understanding, and I think Veronica shared that. All of us on the committee, most of us on the committee, shared that kind of point of view and attitude. So instead of just firing some of us, the mayor just fired all of us and appointed a new committee. But I think the thing that impressed me, and I was just sitting there thinking, how would I describe Veronica at the time? And I just thought, the thought came to me of describe her just as a good sister. And that's what she was. She was just a good sister getting better, you know, all the time. And we were doing the work that we had to do. And over the years, that's who she's been. She's been consistent. She hasn't changed. She hasn't been up or down or going this way or that way. She's always been a good sister getting better, and a good sister that was reliable, that you could count on, was a resource, all of those things that a person you could trust. And trust is so important in the world. To be able to know I can count on her. Not to agree with me, not to disagree with me, but to be consistent and to be principled in whatever it is she's doing, and to help me stay principled as in whatever I'm doing. And I've just been always really grateful and appreciative for the relationship, because I come from the South. I'm from Florida originally, and for those of you who may not be from the South or from someplace else, San Francisco can be really tricky. You know, it's not easy to be in San Francisco because there's a lot of clarity in a lot of respects in the South about how things go down. You know when you get up in the morning what you're dealing with.
Exactly.
It's real clear. Sometimes in San Francisco, you don't know what you're dealing with. It looks like one thing, but it's actually something else. So to discover people, and there are a number of people in this room, for me, that fall into that category, that you can trust and rely on. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to wonder who that person is. Veronica is at the top of that list of people in my life, and I'm just grateful to be amongst those who count her as a friend.
Currently working with San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department, and working with Dr. Hunnicutt here on the Community Recreation Council called CRC. But prior to that, I also live in a neighborhood in the Lakeview area, and I would always see Dr. Hunnicutt walking up and down the street with her dog, and we'd be very cordial and just be like, oh, hi, good morning, whatnot. And I have a daughter, and my daughter applied for a scholarship, and it just happened that this sorority that she applied for this scholarship for was also part of Dr. Hunnicutt's sorority. And so we then became a little more connected. We're like, hey, I know you, and so that kind of opened up the conversation for us to, I guess, really kind of know each other. And I'm here today because I feel like this is a knowledge of wisdom, and I want to learn, and I want to, Dr. Hunnicutt is very positive, and I enjoy her energy, and she's just a great woman, amazing woman, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
The wonderful Jackie Battle.
Wow, okay.
You knew you weren't going to escape.
I know. Well,
We should
first
just
of
go
all,
for it.
everyone here at this table, we're all connected with Rec and Park. I've been a long time employee. When I think about Dr. Hunnicutt, I think about how she is inspiring. When I was getting ready today to come over, I thought about how she inspires so many women. And when she told me a couple of weeks ago that she's writing this book, she wrote this book and she's having this book, and she said, I wrote about me, and I said, Dr. Hunnicutt, what about me? I'm a woman. That's the first thing I said. So what I value is the many people that have come in my life and who made me who I am, and Dr. Hunnicutt is definitely one of them. So, I'm sure it's just like. You know what I mean?
There you go.
You
went already, right?
Yeah, I went already.
I took his minute.
Did you go?
I did not. I don't know.
You go now.
Should we wait for Dr. Hunnicutt to, she's handling some business. It's amazing how she can do that, right?
Yeah, right.
I'll just go and keep going. I'm Thor Keselowski. Good evening, everybody. I used to work for the redevelopment agency. I still call it the redevelopment agency. Now known as Office of Community Investment and Infrastructure. And she is still on, but I was there as a staff person. She's still on the Citizens Advisory Committee. And the work we did, and LaShawn and them continue to do, is real hard. And one thing that always struck me about her, like Al was saying about her consistency and clarity and the things that she would say, was her joy. And no matter how heavy, and we had some pretty heavy meetings, she would kind of look at me and kind of wink and smirk. And not in a mischievous way, but just like, enjoy life. This is life. The journey is here. And it's not so much the outcome that we're going to come to, where we can see where we're headed. But enjoy it while we're all here together. So I continue to work with her in other areas and continue to enjoy the joy that she brings in all that we do. And most important thing is the leadership. And go and ask her any question about anything, and she can give you some good advice on it. And so I always appreciate that about you. So thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, this is, I'm telling you, this is a huge event for me. I'm Garth McNabb, and I'm just honored to be here and honored to have Veronica as a friend. We've talked a lot here tonight about friendship and how important it is to have good friends. Boy, I tell you, I'm very blessed to have Veronica in my life, and what a blessing she is. And just thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashley Blanco. I'm a family support specialist in San Francisco Unified School District. I am also an author, and I facilitate community development, women's spiritual development. Started a LLC called Rise and Thrive, and the mission of that Rise and Thrive LLC is supporting humans in their ability to be kind, curious, and attentive in times of conflict and transition. I appreciate Dr. Hunnicutt so much because she's been an agent for me. When I first published almost 4 years ago, she was right beside me, getting me into different spaces. So I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you.
All right.
Ashley, tell me.
Ironically, I'm here tonight, and believe it or not, 25 years ago, I happened to meet this great woman here. And 25 years ago, I went on an educational journey to go back to school. And ironically, Dr. Hunnicutt was my first professor.
Wow.
Cool. And I had not seen her in 25 years until one Sunday morning she showed up at my church. But I recognized her the moment you came in. And I said to myself, how is it that this woman never aged. I wanted to know what type of water you was drinking, because I'm drinking the same water you are, but you had never aged, and she has been the same person all the way through. She has been an individual that stands out above individuals, someone with extreme integrity, someone that is a likable individual. And I just admire you, and you're the real deal. You talk about me, but you're the real deal. And I just appreciate you as a human being. God bless you.
Okay, now how do I say this to you? This young lady is my daughter, Tia. Okay? I stayed married for about 1 year. No, and it's wonderful because I see people like Pastor. You know, they've been together 20, 30, 40 years. I think it's marvelous. But, when you make a mistake, who wants to stay in a relationship for 20 years? Okay, you know, when you're moving with someone and that individual is wonderful, you're going to be together. Because, you're going to have God there at the table with you. Okay, so you can have, but I knew this wasn't going to work. Okay, but God blessed me. Do you understand that? He blessed me with this young woman. Okay? So for you young people in the room, you can make a mistake and God will still take care of you if you go back to ask Him to help you.
Yes.
Okay? Many times I've been prostrate on that floor.
Yes.
Because I didn't know what to do. And I had to go to Him. You understand what I'm saying? Do not give up. You're going to have some challenging times. That's all part of God building your character. Okay? I don't want to preach at you tonight, but I want you to know He's real.
Yes.
And I am blessed with this young woman and my 3 grandchildren that I will do anything that God allows me to do. Okay, I want you to know my eldest grandson, who that gentleman, Al Williams, took under his arm and hired him to do work with him down at the Cultural Society. When people, we help one another. Do you understand what I'm saying to you folks?
Yes.
We help one another. Okay? I just want you to understand that, Al. Thank you for your love and your support. This is my daughter, Tia Hunnicutt.
Hi everyone, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here this evening and sharing this really special event with us. You know who my mother is. She'll do anything for me. She'll do anything for my children. She'll do anything for you. And there are very few people that are like that. And I think we're all here to treasure her this evening, and I know you treasure her as much as I do. So thank you so much for being here.
My mother my father had just passed away. And what had happened when I was about 14 years of age, a bunch of us kids went down to a country pond, and there was an older kid who was about 18 years old who had a .38 pistol, and he betted my 1-year-old brother that was a year older than me his gun that he couldn't swim across the pond. And as a result, the undercurrent of the pond took him under, and he drowned, and he lost his life. He was 15, I was 14, and 3 years later, my father was fishing, and he was 50 years old. And back then in North Carolina, if you were 16 years old and a good kid, and you had good grades in school, and you passed all the tests, you could drive a school bus. Can you believe that? Yeah. We drove a school bus. I drove a school bus for 3 years, in the 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade, and I took the school bus home, and I had 60 students on my bus. And I look back now, and I tremble that I drove a school bus at the age of 16. But anyway, I was coming home, and my mom had told me, she said, son, I need you to go down to the fishing creek, that your dad's been down there all day long. And I saw his car as I was driving the school bus, and I passed by the road that he was on, but I couldn't stop. And once I parked the bus, I could not get the bus and go back down there either because they had a clock on the bus. And they knew exactly how long it took me to get home and where I was going. So as a result, as I crossed over, my mom had called the sheriff's department, and as a result, the sheriff picked me up, and we found my dad in the water, and he too had drowned. So 3 to 4 years after that, my dad drowned after my brother, and I had told my mom, I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember, but when you had an account, a bank account, you had a little bank book.
Yeah.
Not like a little sliding credit card today, but my mom had a bank book. It was a savings account. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So the savings account, she would go to the bank, put the money in, and they would stamp how much money she had and the date and the time. Well, I made the biggest mistake in going into her pocketbook and seeing her bank book, and I said, hey, Mom, I said, hey, I noticed that you got $1,800 in the bank, and I tell you, she slapped the stars. Because that's the worst thing you could do is go into a woman's purse, especially back in my day, to do that. And anyway, after 3 days of speaking to my mom and talking to her, I convinced her to give us her last $1,800, my brother and I. And we drove all the way out to California, and we promised her that we would be back in 6 months, buy her a house, pack up everything, and come back and get her. 6 months to the date. My brother and I worked 2 jobs, 16 hours a day, saved all of our money, and then bought a house in East Palo Alto. And then rented a U-Haul, packed up all the furniture from North Carolina, and drove all the way back out there again to the day. Why did I say that story? Because I want you to know integrity means a lot. So real men keep their word, and they never promise to do anything that they don't intend to do. So they follow through. And so, is that still on? Okay. So, and the reason why I say that, because I've been out here now for almost 42 years, 43 years. And when I came out here with the wrong intentions. My intentions was to come out here to have the best time of my life. I said, I have seen 2 people in my life die. Right. And all my ancestors was back there. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of the country. And that's what I was planning on doing. And as a result, when I did that, we came out here and immediately things began to change. And about 6 months, about a year after I got out here, God let me have fun. But then he found me. And that changed the whole trajectory of my life. And I always say this right here now, if you can get your mental state aligned with your spiritual state, then most of your problems will dissipate. That's true. And so you can't have anything going on in your life that's going to be good until you first have a mental capacity to change some things in your life. Most of the problems that are in our lives, we create, we promote, and we allow. And we have the ability to change that because God has given us that. So I want to talk a little bit tonight about integrity, because integrity glorifies God for eternity. And God can't bless you if you lack integrity. Are you coming through? Okay. So I want you to understand something. When I got out here, and then I met my wife in a nightclub. So all of my friends who are saved and serving God and are pastors, they all went to Bible college and whatnot, and they used to come back and tell me, they said, hey, you know what, you and your wife been together for a long time. Why did you guys meet? Because we met in Bible school. I said, we met in a disco, brother. We had it going on, man. I mean, listen, I was in 6-inch heels, and you know, the flats and whatnot, and bell-bottom shoes, the whole works. So I thought I was the man, and until I found the Lord. So that's why I know that the eyes of the Lord is in every place, beholding the evil and the good. And God is not God is not a God who's going to lie. God is a God who's going to keep his word, and that's what he tries to build us for. So there are benefits of integrity. Integrity can cause you everything: reputation, promotions, jobs, relationship, your life. And people are going to follow your reputation from the womb to the tomb. And so we need to understand what that really means to us. A man of integrity is a man of principle. This is more than just having principles. It is courage to stand up for your convictions, even when it costs you. I remember when my daughters were born. They are 33, 35 now, and I have a granddaughter. Praise the Lord, Jesus. I thought they weren't going to ever have children. I was trying to get them not to date when they were young, and now I was thinking about, man, y'all going to ever get married and have kids? Wow. And so I have this gorgeous little granddaughter. And so my daughter stopped by the church today as I was there praying, and she says, "Hey, Dad, I need to stop by for a moment. I need to change the baby. She's fussy in the car and whatnot." She stopped by and she said, "Hey, you remember when we were kids, you woke up every single morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you prayed with both of us in your arms until we went to school, until we were 5 years of age. And you would wake up at 4 o'clock and you would pray an hour every morning with us in the arm. Can you start doing that with my daughter?" I said, "That's what you are down for." I said, "I'm praying for her now, but y'all got to get up and start doing that." She said, "That's discipline." Yeah, let me tell you something. You can have anything you want in this world if you're willing to break ground for it. And I'm a living proof of that. And said, but I always say this: don't let your injuries derail you from your purpose, because there are going to be some things in life that set us back. But it doesn't have to keep us back. I remember in 1983, I had gotten a job. I was working in a company, and I ended up working there for 25 years. And I started off as on the production floor, and then I was a temp, and then they hired me as a janitor. And I learned how to be a janitor, and I learned how to clean, and I became the best janitor it was. I mean, you talk about urinals that were spotless. I mean, I took pride in what I did. You know why? Because when I left North Carolina, I was making $1.20 an hour. When I came out here and they started me off with $2.25, I thought I had died and gone there. I said, "Oh, I'm keeping this job, man. I'm keeping this job." And I had a manager who looked at me and said, "You know what? I want you to go over to this building next week and strip those floors over there. I want you to do that alone. I just want to test something here." I went over there and I did probably about 3,000 or 4,000 square feet. I put up all the equipment on the tables. I washed the floors down, stripped them, put sealing wax on them. He came back, he said, "You know what, Withers? You worked hard as 3 to 4 men. I think I want to promote you to a lead person." And then he saw me working as a lead person because I was passionate about what I did. He said, "You know what? A year later, I want to promote you as a supervisor." And I remember God telling me, he spoke to me, he said, "Be still and know that I am God." He said, "I'm going to give you this organization." Now I'm going to tell you something. When God tells you that, don't think that that's going to happen tomorrow. It was about 5 or 6 years later before it happened. But as a result, God paved the pathway. If we stay faithful, he'll do the work and he'll provide things for us. A lot of times what he has to do is to move other people out of the way in order to get you to get to the place that he wants you to be. So to whom much is given, much is required. And the closer you get to God, the more rights you lose. So what do I mean by that? For me to live is Christ and to die is gain. I'm not going to get everything that I think I'm supposed to have. So I've adapted an attitude of, I have an attitude of gratitude. And so nothing belongs to me, but the greater honor God gives you back when you respect and honor him and his wishes. And so life is about our choices. If you don't like your life, then change your choices. Sit down, and I talked to my daughters on many occasions. This is what I did to them when they were kids. At about the age of 7 or 8, I began to date my daughters. every month. Every single month, I would take a day off, whether it was on a Saturday or the weekday, and I would take turns with them because they were fierce. They were fierce women because they were born 2 days and 2 years, 2 days apart. And they did not want their birthdays to be on the same day. So we had to change that up. So I started dating them, and as a result of dating them, I created a relationship with them that has never ended. My mom used to say this, boy, keep living. Life will find you. Outside of art, life will find you. Art finds everybody at 50, but life will find you. You keep living. Everything that you have criticized your parents about, it comes back and you start remembering, oh my God, that's what my mom said. That's what my dad said. And now I look at pictures of my dad and I say, oh my God, I'm looking like my dad, man. I'm looking like him. Oh, Jesus, no. And you began to look like them. It's all become full circle in our life. Why did I put this up here? I think this is so important because when you got peas and beans in a jar, and if you shake them up ferociously, guess what happens? The peas fall to the bottom, the beans go on top. I always ask people, who do you want to be? The peas or the beans? I want to be the beans, friend. I want to be on top. And so thoughts or feelings, these are things that can derail us and who we are as individuals. It's because which one dominates you? Your behavior and whatnot. We got thoughts, we got feelings. And I said, control the feeling, you'll control the thought. The scripture says, take every thought captive. Because, you know, some people wear their feelings on their sleeves. But if we control the feelings, we can control the thoughts, and we can stop the bad behaviors that enter into our hearts and in our minds. That's why the scripture says this right here in Romans 12, 1 and 2. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. And so, the battle is real. You might remember this in 1960. This was in Greensboro, North Carolina. This was 20 minutes away from my hometown. I remember this as a kid, as though it was today. This was a sit-in. It's one of the first sit-ins. It wasn't the first one, but it was one of the most prominent ones that was in the state of North Carolina that they refused to get up because they did not want to serve African Americans. But they sit in, and it was a nonviolent ordeal. And I look at this today because now there's a statue of these 4 men right behind A&T College, A&T College in Greensboro. Actually, here's what I told my daughter when she was looking for colleges. I said, look, go. She said, I want to go out of state. I said, girl, I ain't got no money to send you out of state. Out of your mind? First she said, look, y'all done sheltered us to death. I mean, she said, I've been around white people all my life. I don't know my own kind. I said, girl, you'll get a chance to know them. Just keep living. And so finally she kept talking to me and my wife, and she convinced us to go to HBC college. And I said, she had gone all around for the last 6 months. I said, look, you can pick any HBC college, historical black college you want to go to, but just remember this, I don't want you in the state of North Carolina. Don't go down there. That's south, girl. Go somewhere else, she said. She came back, I know the college I want to go to. I said, well, I want to go to the south. I'm going to go to Greensboro. I said, I'm not going to waste my money for you to go to Greensboro. Oh, God. So here's what I told my daughters. I mean, I really mentored my daughters, and I'm really proud of that. I really mentored them, but they told me that I made them alpha women. They said, you taught us how to change the oil in the car. You taught us how to change our tires. That's what you did to us. And I said, yeah, but you're strong women because of that. And as a result, what she decided to do was, here's what I told them. I said, look, you guys got some strikes against you. Number one, you're a female. You're gonna have it twice as hard as me as a black male. and you're a woman of color, you're gonna have it even harder. So you got two ways to look at this. One, the thing that's gonna keep you, number one, you're gonna need some Jesus, a whole lot of him. And number two, you're gonna need some education, a whole lot of that. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pay for your undergrad degree, but you gotta get a master's. And they did, they kept their word, so I thank God for that. And I look at this elderly woman here is because I understand one thing. It's never too late to change. That's right. It's never too late to change. That's why I never give up on humanity. Because I always say this, change the situation if it's within your control or influence or resources to do so. If not, change yourself in relationship to the situation by adapting, adjusting, and learning to live with it or leaving it or staying away from it. I learned a long time ago that I'm not gonna get angry about the little things. I was in my yard the other day and I was trimming my bush. Only needs trimming about 3 times a year. I parked my car on the side street where it was 2 hours because I know the street sweeper guy comes by on our street every other Wednesday. And I said, oh yeah, I'll put my car over there. And I looked out and I came back and I looked and I said, oh man, I got a ticket. Ticket? You know when you get a ticket in San Francisco, you're talking $10, $20. That was a $90 ticket. I wanted to die. And I said, dude, look. And you know what I told myself? I told myself this right here, right away. I said, this is the first ticket you got in the city this year. You usually budget for 3 or 4. So it's the first one. So count your blessings and keep moving. That's right. That's what I did. It hurt because I thought about, man, I could take my wife out to a nice dinner, but the city done got me again. So the words mean something, you bet they do. Mark Twain said, keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that. But the really great make you feel that you too can become great. Yes. And I like this. What do you think and believe will determine how you feel or what you do? Listen, I went on a journey, as I said, when I met Dr. Hunnicutt. I was about, I think at the time, 38 years old. I was an executive in a company called Raycam. It's no longer in business. And that was, I was a facilities manager. But I knew that I was going to a dead end because I didn't have a formal education. And so I started back to school, and I had some friends of mine who laughed at me. They said, dude, you in a midlife crisis. You're going back to school? The kids are 10 or 12 years of age. What are you doing, man? And then I realized a couple of things. One, I changed the trajectory of my family. And two, I knew at that point in time that it's never too late to change, because my daughters have came back to me later on in life now and said, Dad, if you had never went to college, we never would have went either. Right. And so I kept them in libraries. I bet you I visit every public library in the Bay Area. That's all we did. That's my wife told me one time she thought I was having an affair with the library. She named the library the Liberian. You are having an affair with Miss Liberian. And I thought I was too, because all I did was cry in there a long time, because it was a tough road. It was a challenge. So no matter what you have experienced in life, or your circumstances by what you confront now, you can change your emotions. God once stated, we must become the change we want to see.
That's true.
So I want you to look at this picture right here. Think about what you are thinking about, because we all have perceptions, right? And we have beliefs, whether they are misbeliefs. Can you tell me what you see in this picture, anyone?
Musician, a band
Okay.
playing a guitar.
You see musicians, okay?
A woman holding a basket.
Uh-huh. Well, there's a lot in that picture. Number one, it's the same people. They just got their heads turned on the other side. Number two, you see these people here, and then there's a person here, and then there's an hourglass. So that's a whole bunch of things that's going on in that particular picture. But see, a lot of times what we do, we gotta think about what you're thinking about before you even respond sometimes. Sometimes we just talk. I always say it's easier talking than it is listening. Because the scripture says be quick to listen. Slow to speak. Right? Because you might believe some things that you are saying, but it may not be exactly what it is. And this is how we form misconceptions, misbeliefs, and assumptions. I say this, righteousness is really right thinking. Right thinking helps you to have right responses, and right responses help you to have right behavior. Life can be unfair. How many of you know that? But you use the unfairness of life to make us better people. Now, who will put a big fish in that little bowl of water and give that little fish that? Well, that's just the way life is sometimes. It's unfair. That's true. I want to show you something here. I've learned from others' mistakes. See this picture here? That's the house I grew up in the South. It was the closest house that's ever been built close to the road. We were only 10 feet from the highway, and it was a main highway. Seriously? Yes, wow. 10 feet. Now, 20 feet from that is a railroad track, and the train sits on the hill. Did you know, I think about this and I still tremble at night. I got trauma from that. I'm surprised that train never sidetracked and tumbled over the hill and could have killed us all. I said, yeah, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to work on getting a master's. He said, try to get an AA first. That's what he told me. Well, I ended up getting 2 masters. And now today he calls me for advice. So I've learned this because God when he created us, he did some remarkable things to us. He gave us some things that we can work with. You know, I always say conflict is inevitable, but argument is a choice. I just decided that, God gave us a little mechanism in the back of our brain for self-soothing. In other words, that when somebody does something to us, did you know that we have 3 to 5 minutes? That's the extent that our brain is supposed to be angry. No more than 3 to 5 minutes. Once we get over 5 minutes, it goes into a rage. And then we lose control because our brain floods. We can no longer think conducively for our well-being. And then we done lost it. Our blood pressure goes up, gets over 100 beats per minute, and it's not healthy for anybody. And I don't want to just live, I want to thrive. Because living is just getting up and doing. Thriving is I'm doing something with my life, and that's what I anticipate on doing from the day now till Jesus takes me home. So I want to say thank you, Sister and Dr. Hunnicutt. Thank you for the privilege and the opportunity. Thank you, folks, for allowing me to speak into your life tonight. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
What Pastor talked about was perfect. The idea is that you need God in your life to do anything. God is everything. When you get up in the morning, please thank Him. Because you did not wake yourself up. He awakened you up. And when you get to be my age, and see, African American women are only supposed to live to about 74.5 years. Yeah, right. Okay, all right. So I tell people all the time, he keeps you here as long as you need to be here. So you need to be grateful you are still here. Okay, and I said to one woman one day, I said, God is really good. Yes. She said, so now what are you doing for God? That was profound.
That's good.
That's profound.
Real good.
Okay? Because you need to be thinking about that, folks. We are in this world, but not of this world.
Right.
We know it's crazy out there.
Right.
We know it's nuts. Okay? Let's not get started on the United States government.
Okay.
If you're my age, there was a time when presidents acted presidential. Now all bets are off. Okay, and so what we must do is pray for him. He needs somebody to kind of tell him, Donald.
Right.
No, Donald. No, I mean, Hillary did that, but I mean, because the politics in this country are crazy. But we cannot let these politics prevent us from taking care of people. I have statistics on a piece of paper that are frightening when it comes to boys, black boys, and men. The suicide rate is up. That bothers me. Wait a minute, you can't check out already. You just got here.
Right.
14 to 24. They're talking about suicide. Okay? They're talking about hurting themselves. Okay? They're talking about, oh, I'll just have a consensual relationship. There's no such thing as consent. There's no consenting. You consent to be with God. That's what you need to consent to do. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
We must teach our young people how to live. And to be honest with you, I don't know how they have time to do all this other, taking cocaine and all this crap. Because when I was young in the year 4, we were busy all the time. Okay, if my mother told me don't come in with anything lower than a B. I said, okay, Mom. I said, that's going to be a challenge in my geometry class. Okay, that's going to be hard. Okay, and it was too. No, it really was. Now, I had to see, and I had to try to cover that up, and I had to go get that's when I learned you don't know everything. Go get somebody who knows and can help you.
Right.
You got to be humble about this stuff. Just as I said to you, I don't know how about marketing this book. I'm going to look to these young people and say, what's the next step? Okay? And be grateful to God that they're here to help me.
Yes.
Joe Bell said to me, oh, Dr. Hunnicutt, all you need to do is such a keep. I said, oh, that's great, honey. Let's do it. That's right. Oh, I'm sorry. The book is, the hardback is $19.95.
Oh,
okay.
$20.
I try to keep it down.
$20.
You got to understand about this book. This book is, it kind of talks to you. There's poetry in it. There's the Bible running through. Because, I really feel that the foundation to successful living is through God.
Yes.
Okay? And I always get emotional when I'm reading the Word and I see that part that says that God knew you when you were in your mother's womb. You are here on purpose. You are here by design, in this place, at this time, to do good work. This book is about men. But I'm taking Jackie Battle's advice, which is always great. And I'm writing a book for young women. It's going to be intergenerational. It will link my mother and my grandmother, who primarily raised me, with my experiences, the experiences of my daughter, my granddaughter, and I will probably do vignettes of women, particularly those who are 90 and older, because they refuse to write.
Yeah.
And their lives have been so rich.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll tap down and do some of the young women too, because I think your young people's experiences and middle-aged people's experiences are very important. But I'm doing this because I just think it's important to do it. I'm really kind of tired. The statistics are making me crazy. Linda was telling me about 6 people being killed in the Bayview. And I look around and I'm seeing all this random stuff. We've got to stop it. We've got to let our young people know they're our future.
Yeah.
They're our future. I don't know how much longer I'll be here. Only God knows. We got to raise up that leadership. They can do it. Don't let anything stop you. This book tells you you need to know who you are and whose you are. Thank you, Joel Osteen. Okay. And when you know that, you know how to move on. You need to know your history.
Yeah.
Okay? You need to take care of yourself. Okay? I just learned after the last blood test that I'm pre-diabetic. Okay? That makes sense because it's in my DNA. My mother and grandmother both had late onset diabetes. Okay? But my DNA is not my destiny.
Yeah.
It's not my destiny. I serve a risen Savior.
Yeah.
Okay? I just need to learn how to eat right.
That's right.
That's right.
So no carbs, Dr. told me. Okay? Obviously no sugar.
Right.
Okay? He said, you need to exercise. I said, how much? He said 4,000 to 5,000 steps every day for, wait a minute, he added this bit too, for ladies your age. And he said, take your medicine. Okay, so I am grateful to God that there are even medicines for that, and I am on a medicine now that blew my mind. It's nasty too when it goes in your mouth. But the whole thing is, I'll take it. Because there are medicines that can help stop you from becoming diabetic. Never knew about that. Because my grandmother, when she got her late onset diabetes, we had to give her insulin first, and then we were able to control it by diet. I'm saying all this to you to let you know, take care of yourself. Young people, take care of yourself. Okay? And then don't get too crazy now about this sex thing. Because I have a section in the book that'll make you really think about that. When you are engaged in sex with someone, I'm going to be bold tonight. You take on that person's sexual history. Okay? And there are 4 new diseases out there that they have found that are sexual diseases. Okay? If you want to be intimate, you better sure try to get to God first.
That's right. That's right.
Okay?
That's for real.
All right, read the word. It shows you how to live. It's not that hard to live with joy. But I want you to get off this sex thing because it is really kind of crazy out there. Okay? My book talks about a host of things. It's love. Pastor, you know what the Bible says about love. It's patience. It's kind. Sex I consider to be sacred.
That's right.
It's sacred. Okay? So think about, that's what this book is all about. And I hope you enjoy it. It is for everyone, all ages, all genders.
Thanks, man.
Okay? But it's directed towards young men of color, 16 to 35. I try not to tamper with parents and what they do with their kids, okay, because you have certain ways that you do things. But I kind of want to, okay? Because, sometimes you're not really making these young people strong.
Yeah.
So that they know that conflict comes, just as Pastor said, this was beautiful tonight. Conflict. All that is meant to build your character. That's what my book is all about. It's just me pouring out the wonderful things that God has shared with me, has given me to share with these young men. Okay? Thank you so much for being here tonight. I will be over here for a few more minutes before we have to leave this room.